Welcome to the 3 Knockdown Rule. Starring Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. Presented by Hustler Casino.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Mario 2025 Lopez. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. Quick shout-out to Smokin' Tim Frazier and
Tino on the edits. Folks, we have a very special show. We kept it simple, and this guy is going to be our main event and undercard and walkout bout. The Desert Storm, Tim Bradley, joins us to talk all things boxing. Folks, we just want to let you know this podcast is sponsored by Hustler Casino. Beat the congestion and enjoy free parking every day at Hustler Casino. Introducing So Fine Sundays, where every Sunday you can win tons of cash with drawings every 2 hours from 12 noon to 8 p.m. Stop by and see how big you can win at Hustler Casino. All right, when we come back, we're joined by the Desert Storm, Timothy Bradley.
Streaming live right on YouTube.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
$1.2 million.
And I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
There's a 400K flip. If I win by way, you get 10 grand.
Constant fucking struggle for my fans. Why? Twice.
Wow. All in the call.
I'm not fucking leaving.
Raise it up.
And we're back on the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino. Steve Kim, Mario Lopez, and Mario. I've been trying to book this guy for about a year. It's been a long time since he joined us.
Damn.
Yeah, the guy gets his own YouTube channel. He's too big for us. Just big time.
He's not like that. He keeps it real. I think he just don't like you, but we cool.
Tim, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's happening?
Tim Bradley in the house. Happy New Year to you, brother. In looking back, speaking of the new year, what are your thoughts overall on the landscape of boxing for 2024?
I thought it was fantastic, to be honest with you, man. I think I would say the point of, with Turkey and what he's done thus far in the sport, man, it's been fantastic. I always say his involvement is great. However, it just depends on how long he stays in the game, and that's what I'm afraid of. Because if he goes away, then it's just going to make things very interesting, man. And, I look at it from two ways. The good is we get in the fights that we want to see. The bad is that a lot of these guys are waiting for Turkey to call them. That's the problem. So a lot of the other promoters, if you're not in tune with Turkey, guess what? You're not going to be able to make a big fight on your platform. It's going to be extremely difficult to do. So, but all in all, I'll just say Turkey's influence has been great. There's been some fantastic fights that we've all been wanting to see, and they've happened, and we've had some upsets along the way, too.
You're absolutely right. And that's the thing we always harp on over here is the inactivity of these fighters. And it's funny because this morning I happened to just coincidentally be looking at a fight between Marquez and Orlando Salido. Did you know that was only 3 months after Marquez had fought Pacquiao?
Yeah.
Back in the day. So to take on, first of all, those quality of opponents back to back, but in a 3-month span, I don't know if we see that sort of thing anymore.
No, we don't, because the contracted minimums and also the budget of the networks does not allow it. And I think a lot of managers will not take a haircut. The modern day manager will not. Tim, when you look, and I think you kind of alluded to it, when you look at what stood out in 2024, it was the influence of Turki Al-Sheikh and the Riyadh season. My view is this: well, the money is good, you better go get it. But there could be a reality that you're right. If the spigot is turned off, then it's back to another type of economic landscape that we deal with. Here's the issue that I have. Should fighters wait, or are they just better off staying active and try to get to that point? Because I always see the cart being put before the horse in these situations.
When you're saying wait, are you saying wait on the big fights or the big money, or should they just be fighting someone in the top 15 or top 10?
Be active. That's what we believe in here. Activity matters.
Yeah, I mean, activity does matter, but a lot of these fighters, you have a certain crop of fighters that are looking for greatness. One in particular, Teofimo Lopez, he continuously calling out the best fighters in the world. He wants to step up. He wants to face Terrence Crawford. He wants to face the Ennises of the world, but these guys don't want to face him. So that's an issue for him. But in the time being, he fought against Steve Claggett. People complained about that fight. He fought against Ortiz. People complained about that fight. They said it was lackluster. It wasn't an entertaining fight. I even thought, he possibly lost. However, the thing is that, you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. If you fight against mediocre fighters, then people's going to talk about you. If you fight against, top guys, then that's what people wants to see. So I would say choose your poison. I mean, staying active is always great for a fighter, man. It keeps you sharp, keeps you in the public eye, and and you're able to generate more money over a long period of time.
I agree with you. And since you bring him up, as far as Teofimo Lopez, you're right. He does call out these big names. And we've seen him in there with Loma when nobody really wanted to fight him. Taylor when he was still undefeated. And he looked great in both of those fights. And you mentioned Crawford. And now with Haney, there's a certain thing back and forth. He seems to be his own worst enemy in a lot of ways, which is frustrating because he can't get out of his own way. But at least he is about that life. At least it seems like he wants these fights. I firmly believe it's more about the mentality of the fan too. Comparing like boxing to MMA, for example, the fighters in the UFC have a ton of losses and fans don't care because they realize that they're fighting quality opponents. And I don't know if it's just more of an intelligent fan where they accept it, their value doesn't drop, but I think the fans' mentality has to change a little bit too.
It does, but Tim, to your point, as it relates to Teofimo, he battles everybody, including his own promoter. He's at war with them currently right now as we speak. But Tim, isn't the biggest problem with Teofimo this past year? We were both there. You called the fights, Jermaine Ortiz and Steve Claggett. Well, he was lackluster. I think if you're impressive, like Inoue doesn't always fight a great guy, but he puts on a show. You're like, wow, I'm glad I saw that. I think the problem with Teofimo is he under-delivered in his last two fights.
Yeah, and that has to do with the quality of opponents that he faced. Teofimo Lopez is one of those guys that he's looking for the big attractions. He's looking for things that's going to get his blood boiling. Those type of fights don't get his blood boiling. He's a showman. He likes to put on big shows and have grand entrances. And if you put him in there with a guy like, again, Taylor, right? I thought he was going to lose to Taylor, and he goes in there and he cooks Taylor, and he looks the best we've seen him in a very long time. When he fought against Lomachenko, same thing. He called this shot and he delivered. When you put Teofimo Lopez up against the odds, that's when he delivers. Some fighters are like that, man.
I've said the same thing, Tim. You're exactly right. I've said the same thing. The frustrating part is you want to see him in these bigger fights a little bit more often, going back to our original point.
I'll counterpoint that. The mark of greatness is consistency. But anyway.
I agree.
I know, I agree, but Kim had a solid point that I've always said. Look, in an ideal world, yes, Kim, you're right. But this is a dude that when given opportunity against the highest quality of opponent, he does show up. It's like those NFL football teams that play up to their caliber.
I don't disagree, but none of us can go up to our bosses and the bosses, man, you did a terrible job. And I say, I just wasn't motivated today. It doesn't really work that way in the real world. So, yeah, exactly, Tim. It is funny. Tim, you raised a lot of eyebrows. And I know me, you, and Mario are going to have a disagreement here, and this is what we love. We're all friends. Alexander Usyk beat Tyson Fury for the second time, and on your YouTube channel, Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr., drop a like and subscribe. You said, even with that, Usyk is not, in your view, an all-time great. Clarify that statement.
Look. After the fight, I'm always, scanning and trolling YouTube, man, and I'm looking at articles and I'm looking at people's interviews and stuff, and I'm seeing everyone say top five all time, and I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, look, what I forgot to say and deliver in my message when I went on that little rant was he's not a top five all time heavyweight.
Agreed.
Now, is he an all time cruiserweight? Hell yeah, it's him and Evander Holyfield, without a doubt. I don't care where you put him at. It doesn't matter. But as far as heavyweight, the heavyweight history is so deep. And this guy has fought 5 fighters at heavyweight. And to put him in the all-time, top 5 all-time, in my opinion, it's rubbish, man. It's not right. I don't think he's a top 5 all-time heavyweight. I don't.
I agree with that statement. Yeah. However, I would say I put him in an all-time list of just overall fighters without a weight class, pound for pound, and with the amount of how many fights has he had?
Well, he's as high as you can be for 23
That's
fights.
what I was just going to say.
In my view.
That's my point.
Yeah.
For a guy for 23 fights, I dare someone to show me a resume of someone who has a better resume of a fighter that's had 23 fights. Is that fair?
Yeah,
statement?
and I'm with Tim. I don't have him in my top 10 heavyweights.
No, not in my heavyweights. I'm just more pound for pound in those top 23. But that says a lot.
Right, but Tim, I think another thing, and I brought this up on Twitter, when people say, is he an all-time great? Look, when I say that he might be, I don't mean top 10. I would say Alexander Usyk is firmly in anywhere between 25 to 50.
Who the hell want to be a top 25, a top 20? Like, there's no even point even mentioning them. Like, there's no point. If you top 10, man, like, okay, let's mention the guy top 10. When you see lists out there of top 10 greatest anything, that's the list right there. Anything above that, all right, cool. All right, you got on the list. Come on, man.
But is it fair to say, would you say he's the best fighter with a resume of only 23 fights, on the heels, mind you, of a gold medal, cleaning out and unifying the cruiserweight division, cleaning out and unifying the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I would say that's one hell of accomplishment, the way he was able to do it. Yes, absolutely.
And
me being from a fighter to a fighter, hell yeah.
And he's on the road consistently against the politics of the business. So, Tim, here's another question that ties into it. Did a lot of people overrate Tyson Fury? Because they were calling him an all-time great heavyweight.
No. Look. And a lot of people keep calling me out and saying that I called him an all-time great heavyweight. No, I did not. And if I have called them, please show the damn clip where I say Tyson Fury is an all-time great heavyweight. I said he can compete with all the all-time heavyweights.
I agree.
I said he can compete. I didn't say that he was. I never also, and just let me say this as well. I never said that Terrence Crawford was an all-time great. I never said that Inoue. I was asked on the spot after Inoue fought. Not his last fight, but the fight before that. I forget who he faced. But anyways, I was asked on the spot by Joe Tessitore, is he an all-time great? And I said, whoa. Now, let's just pump the brakes real quick. Guys, all-time greats, in my opinion, are guys like Mayweather, guys like Manny Pacquiao, guys like Roy Jones Jr., Ali, Joe Louis, like guys like that. Even Hopkins. I mean, Hopkins, in my opinion, is an all-time great, in my opinion.
No, I agree with all those statements. And you know what? I agree with the Fury statement because I think he can be competitive. And by the way, very competitive, I would say, with any heavyweight. Look, he's only lost to Usyk, and they were close fights. It's not like my guy went out there and got blown out either. Literally one man.
And Mario, to your point, I think it's very hard and difficult, maybe impossible now to compare eras. I mean, everyone that Tim named had about 50 to 75 fights.
Correct.
And the prior eras had 150 to 200 fights.
Exactly.
And now they have about 30 fights. It reminds me when Sugar Ray Leonard asked Teddy Brenner.
By the way, Sugar Ray Leonard, all-time great.
And he only has 39 fights, but he packed a lot in there. But Ray Leonard one time asked Teddy Brenner, the all-time great matchmaker, hey, Teddy, how would you compare me to Ray Robinson? And Teddy just looked at him and goes, have 200 more fights and I'll tell you. So, again, you have to kind of go out there and understand what era are we fighting in. You brought up Terrence Crawford. You are standing on your square. You're not backing down. In your view, and this is where you and Mario might butt heads, you think he beats Canelo.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me go back to that. Let me answer your question real quick about Fury. Fury, I've always questioned Fury's resume. All right, I said it's too thin. However, he beat the Klitschko that reigned for over a decade. He beat him. He beat Deontay Wilder when nobody wanted to face Deontay Wilder. He was knocking out everybody. Now, you look at Wilder's record, I mean, who did he knock out? But that's still an impressive record, and he did it 3 times, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So is Fury overrated? Hell no. Fury, no. I think he's not overrated. I think Fury is a fantastic fighter. I really do. But I will say this. I think he was somewhat past his prime. Remember, I said he lost to Ngannou. I said that on air. He lost to Ngannou. Then he went into the Usyk fight. Usyk beat him. Usyk was the underdog that time. I think the first time he was the underdog. Yes, if I recall right. But Usyk beat him. I was more impressed with Usyk's first win than I was the second win. Oh. I'll be honest with you. More impressed with his first win.
So, Tim, I'll agree with you. Anyone that is that size with that boxing IQ that can move the way he can
and skillful,
he can compete. There's no doubt.
With 100%.
And skillful.
And skillful.
Yes.
So let me reset this. You and Mario can battle it out. I'm just going to step back here. In your view, Terrence Crawford, In your view, Terrence Crawford beats Canelo.
He cooks Canelo.
Really?
He beats him. Yes. Woo. Man, look. If you go back and you watch the fight with Lara, and you can see the same tendencies that Canelo has now, but he's a lot older now. Okay, the same similar tendencies he got hit. He got hit with shots. That straight left hand was landing. That swivel jab was landing on him. Lara was dancing circles around him, coming back. A lot of people felt that Lara actually won that fight. Terrence is a better fighter than Lara. Lara is an extremely skillful Cuban fighter. I get it, but I just think that Terrence have more skills than a Lara, and I think he can do more. And everybody's talking about the age and, talking about the weight and so on and so forth. Well, I had a conversation with Crawford, and he told me, Tim, I walk around by 175, 180 pounds. And when I do, I spar guys, I spar heavyweights, I spar light heavyweights. I have no problem with the weight. No problem with the weight. Now, when you put the wrestling background on top of that, and you're saying that, Canelo is a super strong guy, man, technique, you already know. If you ever wrestled before, the person that got better technique usually win. It don't matter how much the weight they have or what they're carrying around. It's the technique. Crawford knows how to take care of himself on the inside. He knows how to smother. He knows how to tie up. He knows how to rough guys up. He knows how to turn guys. He understands weight distribution, man. Not only that, if the only way that I see Canelo beating Crawford is he got to knock him out. And when was the last time we seen Canelo knock anybody out? Think about that. That was what, 2001?
So I did wrestle, and I totally agree with that particular point. And let me say, I love me some Terrence Crawford. He's one of my favorite fighters. I think he's incredibly talented, well-skilled, always prepared. I think he's the best ambidextrous type fighter. You might as well call him a southpaw at this point. And he's got a instinct. I couldn't be a bigger fan of the dude. With that said, again, I'm going to go back to the old saying, there's weight classes for a reason. When I saw Madrimov pop dude, and I saw him it was the second row of that fight, I saw homeboy's eyes get a little big, and he was like, oh. And that dude, what, 154? Canelo, and when he fought Lara, that was a while back. Canelo's one of those champions, and I always say he's a champion's champion because he continues to work hard. When he has that tattoo boxing his life, he really is about that life. He works hard, continues to move. Defensively, I've always felt he's really underrated. And look, he could have knocked out, I feel, Munguia. He had a little respect for him, wanted to give the kid, you know what I mean, some respect. If Golovkin, who hits a lot harder than Crawford, could not drop or hurt Canelo, I just don't think Crawford has enough to cause a respect to him to make him go back on his back foot and exchange where he would get the better of those exchanges. I think, again, just because of the size, exactly how I feel Canelo wouldn't do well if he were to go up to 75 and fight Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev would be too much for him. And I think that's exactly the case with Crawford, who, again, I love, but I think Canelo, dude, when you see homeboy, he's this thick from the side, and I see Canelo, homeboy's this thick, and I just think he eventually starts cutting off that ring. Once he starts feeling those body shots and starts hitting those arms, there's going to be openings, and he's going to do what he does, and he's going to start breaking them down, and there's either going to be a late stoppage from Canelo. I'm telling you, let's stop it.
Are you kidding me?
And he
couldn't even stop Berlanga. He couldn't even stop Berlanga. Someone who's a novice.
He was like at 200 pounds that night, though.
I don't give a damn if he's hitting the way he's hitting. That doesn't matter.
Crawford's a lot smaller than Berlanga's a big ass dude, and he dropped him and beat him up.
Listen to me. Everybody was saying that shit about
Let me ask you this. Do you think Tim has gotten hit by anybody that hits as hard as Crawford, that hits as hard as Canelo?
Who are you talking about?
Crawford got hit as hard as anybody that hits as hard as Canelo.
No, I don't think he's been in the ring with somebody that hit as hard as Canelo.
I think that's going to be a big factor.
You got to land the punch.
I'm not saying it's not possible. Look, it's like a pitcher that would have to pitch a perfect game or a no-hitter. I really think he's got to be able to do a no-hit. Is it possible? Yes.
I got a question for you.
Man,
what happens if he hits Crawford and Crawford goes nowhere? What happens if he hits him flush on the chin and Crawford goes nowhere? It's game over. I'm telling you. And everybody's getting all hyped up about Canelo. Canelo has been handpicking his opponents. Do you understand that? So he can look good against these guys. Canelo has always struggled against boxers. All of his worst fights, his losses included, are all been against boxers. Everybody's forgetting that.
Yeah, I agree. He has struggled against boxers. But look, as Canelo's older, Crawford's older too.
He's older, but Crawford has never took and drank of any kind of whiskey or any kind of beer.
I know he's
Crawford don't even.
Dude, I'm a huge
Crawford
fan. I'm not saying anything negative. Crawford.
No. I know you're not. But hold up. But Crawford also don't eat beef. Canelo like to eat beef and eat that Cumberbatch. Yeah, that too. And let me just say this. And that entire camp over there. I'm not just saying it just to say it because, it's meat. No, that entire camp is a little suspect over there because they're getting
well, now we get into conspiracy.
Allegedly.
Now we get into conspiracy.
No, it ain't allegedly. A lot of these guys over there, y'all know they popping dirty over there.
Wow. Okay, be that as it may. Okay.
Crawford is fresher than Canelo. Canelo got 66 fights.
I know he does. He's been fighting one of these days. I think he will turn up for this fight, much like we were talking about Teo. I think he will turn up for this fight. If it happens, and I hope it does, and I honestly think just the size will be the difference. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Let me just say
that's
this.
Okay.
I think
all right. Y'all just keep saying that size stuff. We just saw a guy 50 pounds heavier. We just saw a guy 50 pounds heavier.
Hold on a second.
50 pounds heavier.
Hold on. Let me ask you this. The Madrimov fight. Would you agree that was a close fight?
I thought it was a close fight.
Come on,
I didn't think it was a close fight.
That was a close fight, brother.
Close.
That was a close fight.
No. I thought it was.
Okay, now you're not being honest.
Yeah.
Now you're not.
No. It was 8-4.
Okay, that was a close fight at 54. Now you're asking him to jump 2 more weight classes.
Well, all right. Let's.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a big ask. At that point,
no.
I think it's going to be.
We'll talk about this more next year.
I hope it comes to fruition. I hope we see it in May or at least in September.
I can't wait because I want to come. I want to come back on and I want to tell you I told you so. Canelo Alvarez is slowing down. He ain't the same fighter as he was years ago. He's getting tired late. I see it. Crawford and them, they see it as well. I'm telling you.
I like this. You know what?
We'll see.
So instead of a year delay, he's only going to join us every 5-6 months. I like that. I like it. Let me just wrap up. I think both of you make very valid points, but there is a variable. I don't think that Munguia ever thought he could win. I don't think Berlanga ever tried to win. Terence Crawford is a fierce competitor.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
To win the game.
Let me ask you something. And that works to Canelo's favor.
Maybe.
Whenever someone really engages, the slipping, that works to his favor.
Yeah,
it's the dudes that run, box on the outside, fleet of foot that give him problems. If you're going to stand to engage with them,
but that's
bad news.
I didn't say that.
I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that.
But Crawford's also very slick with a very high boxing
of course
IQ.
He's slick, dude. He's he's amazing.
That was a very spirited debate there, guys. That was very presidential.
Valid points.
Yeah. Tim, I know you've been impatient. Do you think people are now catching on? Because March 1st, it is Lamont Roach facing Tank Davis, who I like Lamont, but he's a 130-pounder, doesn't really punch well. And it's not a guy like Shakur Stevenson or even a Teofimo Lopez. At what point do you think Tank Davis now gets his feet put to the fire in terms of his current matchmaking?
I don't know. I really don't know. One of the things that surprised me is that Tank was completely honest with what he's doing in the sport. He said, you know what, he even brought up retirement, which I think is bogus. I think he's too young to retire. However, it sounds great, and people are going to want to see him fight, right? And he wants to bring people out and say, man, we better go watch Tank because he might retire. However, he's not interested in facing those guys, man. He's interested in just grabbing the money. He just told us. He was like, look, I don't care about legacy. I don't care about championships. It's kind of the way he's been brought up along the way. It's this new way, this new school of boxing, man. I see a lot of guys, including Jared Anderson. They're all after the money, and that's it, the money alone. And I respect it, However, man, the culture of boxing is different, man. You have a few guys like a Usyk, a Terence Crawford that are looking for greatness. And then you have the other guys that are just looking for money. And Tank's that guy. So I don't know if we'll ever see him in the ring against Shakur Stevenson. I don't know if he'll ever be put to the fire because they're picking and choosing the guys that they know he's going to beat.
And I love me some Tank, and it's so frustrating, as a fan and as one of the young stars in the sport. But you're right. You're dying on the vine over here. If you're not willing to face these guys, there could be such great matchups potentially with Shakur.
Not doing it.
With Teo even. And I just don't see him.
He going to fight. He going to look for Garcia again. Garcia again. That's what he going to look for because that's the biggest money fight. He told us what he wants to do. And it's a shame because I want to see how talented he is. Like you guys said, I want to see, are you really that good? Because he has his fan base. They love him to death. But, man, I would love to see him in the ring with a Shakur Stevenson.
You know, you mentioned Garcia. As crazy as that kid is, he calls it. He wanted Tank, got Tank. He wanted Haney. Those are two great fighters. He got in there. He's calling. I forgot who else he called out. He's called out some days. Crawford, right. He wants the smoke. Menace. He wants the smoke, and I like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, you got to respect that.
Tim,
yeah, I do.
You brought it up. Who would you favor right now, Shakur or Tank, if they met at 135?
This current Shakur, I don't like. He needs to get back to his boxing and counterpunching. I don't know if that has something to do with the injuries or his hands. I'm not sure what it is, but once he gets that under control, I like Shakur in the fight. However, if Tank lands one, because that's all it's going to take, I think Tate Davis can knock Shakur out. But if let's say gun to my head right now, I would say Shakur Stevenson beats Tank.
Ooh. Yeah,
gun to my head right now. Gun, boom. Pick a winner. I say Shakur, but he has to get back to his boxing, and he has to be 100% healthy, and he has to counter more. That's it. If he can counter it, I got him.
No, I agree. He's young and energetic and talented enough to be able to pitch that no-hitter.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tank gets touched. And Shakur's got some fast-ass hands.
Hey, did you see him? Did you see Tank smoking that weed? Now I understand. I saw Tank smoking that weed. So now I understand why he likes to take his time early on, because he ain't got the gas tank that everybody believes he does, because he's smoking that marijuana, man. I'm telling you.
And Shakur does.
Yeah, but keep this in mind. When you fight Tank, it's like the tortoise versus the hare. You might jump out to an early lead like Frank Martin and some other guys. Eventually, he catches up to you. Speaking of a guy in that weight class that's a high-profile fighter, a lot happened to him last year and recently. Tim, in your opinion, do you think Devin Haney will ever be the same psychologically?
Like he was before, no. Like before the loss, no. I don't think but I think he can get to a point because he's young, okay? And he's in the gym and he's doing the right thing. He's working, all right? And the more he works inside the gym and the more he tries to better himself, I think that's going to help him mentally over time. But he still got to get inside that ring, and he has to do it. And once he does it, all right, and I told him personally on my channel, I said he needs to go back where he started. He needs to go back to Mexico. He needs to get those left hookers out there, those left hook fighters out there that's, they good to the head and body with that left hook. Start there and then build yourself back up. So that way you can humble yourself, man. Humble yourself a little bit. And I think that's what he's missing. Once he does that, then I think he'll be fine. I think he'll creep back into the rankings little by little. I think, he just got to needs a fight to get his feet wet. We got to see if that chin is okay. Gets a decent guy, a decent puncher. And then, I think he's young enough to bounce back for sure.
I thought the biggest mistake he made, and it's unfortunate because you can't go backward, was take so much time off, because the last taste in people's mouth, in image in people's head, is the fight with Ryan. And Ryan just...
I don't think so.
I know, because I'm going to tell you what.
Hanged up, though.
Hold on a second. No, but hold on a second. Yes, I admit, I just didn't think he needed to take the whole year off. Bro, Ryan got more mileage out of that fight and commanded social media and basically relived it and relitigated it again and created a whole other hype off of the one fight. He needed to change the narrative, and like Bradley said, to go and fight another guy, build that confidence, and just get the new image out of people's mouths.
With that said, Tim, do you think it was a good move for him?
A year off, bro?
No, I'm with on that, but I'm talking about the whole lawsuit.
And that's an awful look.
As a fighter, it's like, look, the risk going in. And Tim, I think they made a strategic mistake when it was obvious that Ryan did not make the weight on purpose, right? And putting aside the drug test, because we didn't find out about that till 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I heard they had chances to renegotiate a different set of weights the morning of the fight, but they were so arrogant, thinking this kid can't touch us, and he got touched. What are your thoughts on the whole lawsuit situation?
Look, I've always said it was soft as hell because, we in the fighting and hurt business. And when I saw the battery on there, I was like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, come on, man.
That's the game.
Damn. Regardless if he took the performance enhancement drugs or not, that left hook was going to land regardless. It was going to freaking land. You know, that's his best punch, and he just wasn't prepared for it. But I think this is just more just control, the damage control. I think that's what they're trying to do, damage control.
They're causing more damage. They're causing more damage. And to my point, out of sight, out of mind, and allow Ryan to just go buck wild. And if he would have had at least one fight, I think it would have changed a little bit. But instead, now I think there's almost as much psychological damage as physical.
But I'll tell you this, everybody's still talking about Haney. And that's a good thing, whether it's negative or not. I think he's still relevant right now today. Everybody's talking about him. You know, when they stop talking about you is when you got to worry. But they're still talking about Devin Haney. So, look, whether we say he should have took a fight or not, I think the layoff is good for him because he let his brain rest.
Yeah.
That's important. Let that brain rest because it got rattled. All right? Now, what he does from this point on is extremely important.
Yeah, and by the way, it was announced by Devin Haney, then BLK Prime, March 15th. He will be making his return.
It won't be Ryan Garcia because he's suspended till April.
No, cab driver.
But it shouldn't be Ryan Garcia because to Tim's point, I would make sure he's not in there with a puncher. Just get your feet back wet and just get back into the win column and then see what you do.
That's sort of like what I just said.
Right. No. But to his point, I actually don't disagree with Devin taking the rest of the year off. He got banged up.
Yes.
Bad.
No, I know he did, but I don't agree he should have been a full year. 6 months is enough.
Well, it's not full year.
Nah, man.
Hold on,
Tim. See, that's the problem with people, man.
Provodnikov, you needed a full year, did you not?
I needed almost close to a full year to recover. Yeah.
To me, that was a much more violent fight.
I did. You know what? I did actually.
I was shocked, but that was more physical.
It was 8 months. 8 months. 8 months. 8 months. I took off 8 months because I fought Marquez after that. It was 8 months, but I did more therapy than I did boxing to get ready for Marquez.
Quick question here. So March 15th will be the return of Devin Haney. February 22nd, once again, we go back to Riyadh season, Kingdom Arena in Saudi Arabia.
Hell of a card.
Two-part question here, Tim. Who did you have winning Beterbiev, Bivol? One, who wins the rematch?
Well, look, I had Bivol winning the fight. Afterwards, I said Bivol had won the fight. I went back, and I understood why the judges picked or chose Bivol. However, I thought that Bivol clearly won the fight. From my standpoint. In the rematch, I see Beterbiev winning the fight. I just think he's just too strong for Bivol. You know, and if he doesn't get hurt, man, you know, I mean, we're a couple months away from the fight, man, and you know, Beterbiev is always getting hurt.
Which is ironic because this dude is like a wrecking machine.
It's crazy to me.
He be hurting himself. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Listen to me. I'm waiting. I'm just patiently waiting to get that tweet. You know, he's hurt again. You know, he hurt this. The fight's postponed. But he's going into this fight off of that fight. You know, he's not going into the fight off of having a year off. Beterbiev, that's who I'm talking about. So I think he'll be even sharper for this fight, and he knows what he's up against now. And I think he wins the fight.
Yeah, to Tim's point, death, taxes, and the Beterbiev injury, which postpones a fight. Again, that'll be February 22nd. What I'm concerned about, and I do think Beterbiev edged it, the last 2 rounds, Bivol's case would have been a lot stronger for himself to say, hey, I won that fight. But in 11 and 12, it was Beterbiev that closed. I thought that was big. I had
Beterbiev winning, as you know.
Too strong.
We bet, and I have him winning in the rematch as well. And Bivol, who I'm a fan of both as a fighter and
got to be able to hurt him,
and as a person, yeah. And you're exactly right. He's got to be able to respect.
Put him on his heels at least.
That's the same thing that's going to happen with Crawford Canelo.
Both of you guys.
Too strong. Too strong. That's what you saying. Too strong. Crawford has more dimensions than Bivol. More dimensions. He can do more things than Bivol.
We're going to talk about this some more. Yeah. Tim, you said something to me that was eye-opening, and the more I think about it, I cannot disagree. So the question is, who's the best young fighter in the world? And I'd say young, below the age of 25.
Bam
Rodriguez.
Bam.
Explain why you think that.
I agree with that.
Simple as that. Man, that dude is like water. That guy is like water. Seriously, the definition of water.
Quality
he can
of opponent,
adapt to
too.
anything. It don't matter what it is, man. And he's just so smooth with it, smooth in transition. You know, his attitude, I love it. He wants to face the best. He wants to fight the best guys in the world. Like this guy, he's so crafty too. Great counterpunching, good power, great speed, great timing. Like it's nothing not to like about the kid, man. He is the best young fighter, I believe, in the world under 25 for sure, without a doubt.
I agree, and the most impressive resume.
Yeah.
Too.
Another guy, and again, he's 27, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think he had a great performance, and Tim had no problems calling it out. Tim, did I overrate Boots Ennis?
Did you overrate? No. You know what? A lot of guys, look, I think a lot of guys see his athleticism, see his speed, see his punching power, and then you kind of put him in the category of like a Roy Jones. You know, like you haven't seen something like that in a while. So like, no, I don't think you overrated him. I just think that we just need to let him he hasn't really fought, a guy to really prove how great he is. I honestly feel that like the level of competition that he's faced, he's kind of like been in this lane to where, he looks mediocre because the guys are mediocre. They're not really challenging for him. So I think that's the biggest issue with him, man. I think once you put him in the ring where he has to be disciplined and he has to respect his opponent, then I think we'll see the best Boots Ennis. But no, I don't think we overrated him, man. I really don't. I still think he's a tremendous type of talent, but again, he still has to prove it, man.
I do too, and I like Boots. And honestly, based on that last performance, I think he's outgrowing that weight class. And I think that is a factor in maybe how he underwhelmed in his last performance. I really do.
Yeah, Mario, I think he's running out of time. He's probably got 12 months left at 47, and I would hope that Eddie Hearn can get him a Brian Norman or an Montestanionis. I don't know about Barrios. That's on the other side of the street, but he wants to at least partially unify at 147. Tim,
he's hurting his own career, man. He's hurting his own career. He's had plenty of opportunities to go up to 54 and face these guys. Tim Tszyu, wanted to face him. It was another guy at 154 that wanted. Virgil Ortiz wanted to face him. And he turned it down.
Yeah, that was
turned it down
because these opportunities come few and far between. And I honestly think he would be a much better fighter. Remember when Victor Ortiz was struggling to make that weight, and he went up and he fought Andre Bordeaux, and look how much better he looked. I think it could be a case
his reaction
like that.
times against Chikazian looked like a guy who left a little bit of the fight in the weight cut. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Tim, there's a prospect that we love. We believe is a blue chip prospect. Has a very high ceiling, but in his last fight, he got dumped to the canvas twice. How concerned are you over that last effort of Abdullah Mason?
Look, I thought it was a spectacular ending. He showed me what a champion has inside. He got up and he stuck to the plan. He got a little bit smarter. He did get caught with the same shot. However, a little tweak, I would say, in his technique. Times when he throws that uppercut, if he changes that, I think he'll be okay. But man, concerned. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little concerned only because this was the first puncher that he's faced, and there's gonna be many more punchers throughout this weight class at 135 pounds, man. And there's gonna be a chance where you get clipped on that chin, man. And if you can't take it, bro, it's not in this flash knockdown stuff. I'm talking about get clipped and you're really hurt, and the guy come after you. I don't know, man. But I am a little concerned. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little concerned by that knockdown, bro.
He acted like a guy who had never been hit back. Because if you look at that second knockdown, it's almost like he didn't expect anything to come back. And when you're so used to one-way traffic, try driving on a New York City street. Okay, it becomes much more difficult than just going down the freeway all the time in one direction.
Yeah.
Now we're going to find out what the kid's made of. So
yeah, there's no doubt. And by the way, later that night, Keyshawn Davis, did he show you now he is ready for a Dennis Baranchik or a lightweight title shot?
Oh yeah. I always thought that Keyshawn was extremely schooled. I just worry about these guys, what they're doing outside the ring. That's it, man. But yeah, he looks focused. The best that I've seen him in his entire career thus far. Absolutely.
And Tim, final question. You are making a lot of waves. You are now a content creator. And once again, that's at Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr. Drop a like and a subscription or subscribe to him. Tim, what's it been like? And do you read the comments on your videos? Because I perused them one time. Wow, you fired up the people.
I read all the comments. I even hit back sometimes. I love it. I enjoy it. Enjoy the negative comments. I enjoy the.
Do you?
Don't engage.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it, man. See, that's the thing with me, man. Like, I'm flying, man. I'm doing me, and people have a problem with me doing me, and that's their problem. It's not my problem. So I'll hit back every now and then, man. I enjoy it. Thanks for the ones that subscribes thus far. Man, hey, come and check out my channel, man, and keep subscribing, please. But yeah, I love it. I love it. Whether it's negative, whether it's positive, baby, it's all good. Keep my name in your mouth.
Good for you, brother. Good for you. Hey, always a pleasure to have you, Tim. Time for
Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. For real.
Hey,
Thank you.
You know what?
Thank
Hey,
you for
come
your
in
time.
person sometime.
Man, look.
You got to see Kim's glorious gray wig.
My God.
In person. God.
Bro.
Just look like Kenny Rogers, though. He's like a founding father from back in the day.
Man, I can't believe you let it go, bro.
That's what I said.
That look great. I mean, honestly,
great.
I'm the great crouching tiger.
Look at his face. Look at his face. He looking perplexed. Like he looking confused as fuck right now.
Yeah, I mean, you need to listen to Mario, man. Mario is gonna make
Thank you,
sure.
LTM. Listen to Mario.
Listen to Mario, big dog. For real.
Hey, but Tim, except when it comes to Canelo Crawford, except when it comes to that.
Look. You guys, I mean, look. I understand. Canelo's the easy pick. I get it. He's the easy pick. He's the bigger guy. He's been at the weight the longest. I just think that Crawford is just great. I just think he's that damn good. That's just it. I think he's that damn good, and I think he's going to shock the world if Canelo steps up and faces him.
Let me ask you, just to not to deviate too much right here, though. I'm such a big fan of Crawford that a prime Crawford and a prime Mayweather, I'm choosing Crawford.
Ooh, yeah. I've always said that.
I'm such a just to show you the respect I got for him. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
About the same size, and
I've said the same. I said the same thing.
you agree with me? Okay.
Yeah, I've said the same thing in the past. Yeah.
Tim said that about 4 years ago.
I didn't know that.
Tim made a great point. He said, Steve, if Terrence Crawford faced the exact same guys at the same space and time in their careers as Mayweather did, Crawford would probably be undefeated too. Think about it that way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, Tim,
Absolutely.
Canelo Crawford is consummated, and I've heard it's actually kind of
Looking good.
They're making some progress.
That's awesome.
Please join us again. We'd love to have you back. You're one of our favorites.
Oh, absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for your time, man. I got to get going.
Have a
God
great week.
bless. Take care.
Thanks.
All right. Peace.
And that was the Desert Storm, Tim Bradley. Man, you guys were
He's
about
the
to
coolest.
fight. I almost had to put the gloves on you.
That was a very healthy debate.
It was. I love
that's
that.
how you got. That's how people should be able to discuss things.
Hey.
I mean, it shows how big fan I am of Crawford. I just picked him over Mayweather. I just think again the weight classes. And if Canelo, I'm not Canelo home reliever because if he just went at one weight class, I think he loses to Beterbiev.
Right. And the bottom line is this: look, in a fight,
Right, he wasn't honest. You know that Madrimov fight was tough.
I'm with you. I thought it was tough too.
Exactly.
Hey, folks, are you looking to get involved with the 3 Knockdown Rule and sponsor our show? We have some spots available. Please email us at info@boxbid.io. Once again, that's info@boxbid.io. BoxBid is an online platform that helps professional boxers connect with their fans by providing exclusive Fight Week merchandise, memorabilia, and sponsorships. You can even buy a shout out on boxbid.io. They handle our sponsorships, and we are proudly working with boxbid.io. Mario, before you wrap it up, boy, Tim Bradley, he's one of the best. I love Tim.
I love that dude. I hope he visits more often.
Yes. So anyway, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino.